Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. Today, we'll be speaking out of the Junior High Self-Control Unit. To do or not to do, that is the question. Self-control is the answer. Another important aspect of proper decision-making is learning to weigh your options. Weighing your options means taking the time to consider the possible outcomes of each choice before acting, and then making a decision that is morally correct, beneficial, and advantageous. A proper decision is made only after you have weighed your options. Here's a scenario for you. We have a person named Jason who's faced with a problem that will require self-control. Notice, as we go over this narrative, how he weighs each choice before making a decision. Jason was on his way to class. The hallway was crowded, and everyone rushed to beat the late bell. Suddenly, someone pushed Jason, and he fell to the floor. Jason was very embarrassed, and then he felt angry. He thought to himself, I can't believe some dumb jerk pushed me down. I bet it was Michael or one of his crew. They're always doing something stupid. Just wait until I catch up to him. Then he thought to himself, yeah, but I can't prove who pushed me down. It could have been an accident for all I know. Besides, trying to retaliate would just make things worse. If I find out that someone did this on purpose, I'll report it. That way, they'll be corrected by an authority, and maybe it'll help them to see the harm that could have resulted from their actions. Notice how Jason took the time to think through each of his choices to arrive at a decision that was morally correct. Weighing your options may seem to take a lot of time, but remember, we are the most intelligent species on the planet. We can think at the speed of light. In the long run, weighing your options before acting will take a lot less time than making a choice that will cost you in many other ways, including lost time. Putting it all together, you are now aware of the harmful effects of negative thoughts. When faced with a negative thought about yourself or others, this is your cue to start practicing self-control. When faced with a negative thought about yourself or others, this is your cue to start practicing self-control. The first thing you should do is stop. Think about how this can affect you or someone else. Remember, negative thoughts about yourself can set you up to fail. Negative thoughts about others have the potential to lead to violent and aggressive behavior. Next, evaluate your options. You now know the difference between a positive and a negative choice and how to weigh your choices. Remember, a choice is only positive if it is moral and shows concern. Negative choices can be immoral. Now that you know the value of positive choices, you can proceed by making a positive choice and following through on your decision. An easy way to remember how to practice self-control is to think of an acronym, STOP. The letters stand for S, stop, T, think, O, options, and P, proceed with the right choice. Here's a few scenarios we can go over to help us to understand the main points of what we're discussing. Jamul was one of the last boys to be chosen for the debate team. Jamul thought to himself, nobody likes me, I hate debate. Should Jamul use self-control? Of course Jamul should use self-control. Jamul's thoughts in that instance are negative. He's being his own worst critic. If Jamul does not practice self-control, what could be some of his negative options? He could choose not to participate in the debate team. He may not perform to the best of his ability. If Jamul practiced self-control, what could be some of the positive options? He could participate and perform to the best of his ability, right? Showing that he is worthy of being a teammate. What positive option do you think Jamul should proceed with? Jamul should control his thoughts and keep them positive and perform to the best of his ability, right? Here's another one to consider. Monica was upset with her sister. She thought to herself, my sister always gets her way. Oh, she falls when she goes skating tonight. Should Monica use self-control? Yeah. Monica's thoughts are negative. They are not morally correct because she wants her sister to get hurt. How could Monica's negative thoughts affect her? Monica could end up robbing herself of the capacity to be compassionate towards others, right? How could Monica's negative thoughts affect her relationship with her sister? One example is that Monica could be spiteful and treat her unfairly and disrespectfully. If Monica does not practice self-control, what could be some of her negative options? Monica could do something mean to her sister, right? To purposely hurt her feelings. She could speak harshly and disrespectfully to her. If Monica practiced self-control, what would some of her positive options be? Think about it for a moment. Well, one is that Monica could consider that even though she is upset with her sister, it is wrong to want to see her harmed. Instead, she could find ways to work out whatever disagreement they may have. What positive options should Monica proceed with? One is that Monica could speak respectfully with her sister and solve their conflict peacefully. To review, in this excellent chapter of the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, coming from the Junior High Self-Control Unit, what we've learned so far in summation is that self-control is the foundation of a positive character. We've learned that moral principles are the foundation of self-control, and that to practice self-control, we must stop and carefully consider whether our thoughts and feelings will lead to actions that are morally correct. We've learned that developing and practicing self-control will enable us to develop many other positive character traits. We've learned that self-control must come from within and must be practiced consistently because we are now accountable for the decisions and the actions we take. It is up to us to determine our thoughts and whether or not they can help us to build our character or if they will lead to choices that we will regret. We've learned that we have the power to choose which thoughts we will focus on and which thoughts we'll let go. We've also learned that in practicing self-control, we must take the time to weigh the consequences of our choices. We learned a very interesting and helpful acronym, the STOP acronym. And we've learned that it's an easy way for us to remember how to practice self-control. Taking the time for self-control to analyze every thought and feeling before acting on it is one step towards world peace, the peaceful solution.